Welcome to Sleep, a place where every gentle sound guides you toward peace, and every moment helps you drift into deep, restful sleep. I'm so glad you've joined me tonight. Dear listener, take a slow, easy breath and let your shoulders soften. Feel where you are right now. Notice the gentle weight of your body resting, supported, and safe. The air around you is calm. With each quiet inhale, invite a little more ease. With each unhurried exhale, let the day loosen its grip. There is nothing you need to solve tonight, nothing to plan. You have arrived at a soft place in time, where stories move slowly and kindness leads the way. Allow your eyelids to grow comfortably heavy if they wish. If they stay open, that is fine too. Simply listen. Imagine a faint breeze brushing past your skin, cool and friendly. Hear the hush of leaves somewhere nearby, as if the world itself is settling in beside you. Your breathing finds a gentle rhythm, steady and calm. Your thoughts begin to drift like clouds across a quiet, moonlit sky. When you are ready, our story today begins at the edge of a wondrous old forest, just as evening is folding into night. The forest is ancient and welcoming, filled with tall trees whose branches reach toward one another like old friends sharing secrets. The air smells of moss and pine, and the ground beneath is soft with fallen leaves. Fireflies blink in and out of view, tiny lanterns guiding the way along a winding path. This is a place where time slows down, where worries fade, and where gentle lessons are learned without effort. At the edge of this forest lives a kind-hearted little girl named Alice. Alice has curious eyes and a quiet smile, the sort that makes others feel at ease. She loves listening more than speaking, and she has a way of noticing small wonders that others often miss. Tonight, she steps into the forest with a light heart, her footsteps unhurried, her thoughts calm. She feels the forest greeting her, as if it has been waiting all day just for this moment. As Alice walks, an owl glides silently overhead and lands on a low branch nearby. This is Winston, the wise old owl with soft feathers and eyes that glow gently in the moonlight. Winston has seen many seasons come and go, and his voice, when he speaks, is smooth and reassuring. He nods to Alice, a familiar and comforting gesture, and she smiles back, feeling safe in his presence. Not far away, there is a low, contented hum, followed by the sound of careful footsteps. From behind a wide oak tree emerges Alexandra the bear. She is large and strong, yet her movements are slow and gentle. Her laugh is warm, and her heart is even warmer. Alexandra loves simple joys, like ripe berries, cozy naps, and good company. When she sees Alice and Winston together, her eyes light up with happiness. The three friends gather beneath the trees, sharing the quiet of the evening. There is no rush, no urgency, only the soft chorus of crickets and the distant hoot of another owl echoing through the forest. The moon climbs higher, painting everything in silver light. If these quiet tales are helping you drift off, a gentle like or a silent subscribe would mean the world. It helps this sleepy corner of the internet reach others who need a little calm too. I always wonder, where in the world are you listening from right now? If you're still awake, leave a whisper of a comment, maybe your city and the time on your clock. It's a beautiful thing, this quiet little global gathering, all connected through stories and stillness. Now, let's set the mood. Dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and get comfortable. Back in the forest, Alice suggests they take a slow walk to the heart of the woods, where the oldest trees stand. Winston agrees, tilting his head thoughtfully, and Alexandra lets out a soft, happy sigh. They begin to walk together, their pace matched and easy. With every step, the forest seems to breathe along with them. As they move deeper, the trees grow taller and closer, their leaves whispering overhead. Alice runs her fingers along the rough bark of a tree, feeling its strength and age. Winston speaks softly about patience, about how the forest teaches by simply being. Alexandra listens, nodding, her heavy paws barely making a sound on the forest floor. Soon, they reach a small clearing where a circle of smooth stones surrounds a gentle fire pit. Tonight, a small fire crackles there, sending warmth into the cool air. The flames dance lazily, casting soft shadows that sway against the trunks of the trees. The friends settle around the fire, each finding a comfortable spot. Alice sits cross-legged, feeling the warmth on her face. Winston tucks his feathers neatly and closes his eyes for a moment, breathing in the calm. Alexandra lowers herself slowly, the ground welcoming her weight, and lets out a deep, satisfied breath. The fire crackles quietly, a steady and soothing sound. Sparks rise and fade into the night. The forest listens. Alice feels a deep sense of belonging, as if she is exactly where she is meant to be. Winston begins to share a gentle story about the stars, about how they watch over the forest and guide those who wander. His voice is low and rhythmic, like a lullaby woven of words. As you listen, allow your own body to relax even more. Your jaw softens, your brow smooths. Each breath carries you deeper into rest. The forest, the fire, the quiet friendship, all of it wraps around you like a warm blanket. Alexandra smiles as she listens, her eyes half closed. She thinks about gratitude, about how sharing a moment like this is one of life's simple joys. Alice feels sleepy now, her head gently nodding as the story flows around her. Winston's voice blends with the sounds of the night, and everything feels calm, safe, and unhurried. The fire burns lower, the stars shine brighter, and the wondrous forest holds its gentle silence, inviting dreams to come softly and naturally. The fire settles into a quiet glow, embers pulsing softly like a slow, steady heartbeat. Alice leans back against a smooth stone, feeling its coolness through her clothes. Her breathing matches the rhythm of the night, now calm and even. The forest seems to lean closer, as if listening along with her. Winston opens his eyes and looks up toward the stars peeking through the branches. He speaks again, gently, telling Alice how each tree in the forest grows at its own pace. Some stretch tall quickly, others take their time, but all of them belong. Alice listens, letting the words drift through her like warm air. There is comfort in knowing there is no hurry, that growing and learning can be soft and natural. Alexandra reaches for a small bundle of dried leaves and pine needles, placing them carefully on the fire. A sweet, earthy scent rises, mixing with the cool night air. It reminds Alice of cozy evenings and quiet mornings. Alexandra hums, a low, contented tune, barely louder than the crackle of the embers. The sound is steady and soothing, like a lullaby without words. After a while, the friends decide to wander a little farther, toward a stream that sings softly in the distance. They rise slowly, stretching without rush. Alice brushes the leaves from her clothes. Winston spreads his wings once, then settles them neatly at his sides. Alexandra stands with care, grounding herself before each step. The path to the stream is lit by moonlight, pale and gentle. Ferns line the way, their leaves glistening with dew. Alice notices how the forest floor feels springy beneath her feet, supportive and kind. With each step, she feels lighter, sleepier, as if the forest itself is guiding her toward rest. They arrive at the stream, where water flows over smooth stones with a quiet, continuous murmur. The sound is calming, endless, never demanding attention. Alice kneels by the edge and dips her fingers into the water. It is cool and refreshing, sending a pleasant shiver through her hand. Winston explains how the stream never worries about where it is going. It simply flows, moment by moment. Alexandra sits nearby, watching the water catch the moonlight. She talks softly about listening to your body, about knowing when it is time to move and when it is time to rest. Her words are simple, honest, and full of care. Alice feels them settle deep inside, like seeds planted in rich soil. The three friends sit together in silence for a while, listening to the stream and the night creatures around them. Crickets sing. A distant frog croaks lazily. Somewhere far off, a breeze moves through the treetops. Everything works together, each sound fitting perfectly into the quiet whole. Alice's eyelids grow heavy now. Winston notices and smiles to himself. He suggests they head back to a small hollow nearby, a place where the ground dips gently and the stars are easy to see. Alexandra agrees, standing slowly and offering Alice a steady paw to help her up. The hollow is peaceful and protected, surrounded by young trees and soft grass. The earth there feels warm, holding the day's last bit of sunlight. Alice lies down, gazing up at the sky. The stars seem brighter here, twinkling softly. Winston perches above, keeping watch, while Alexandra settles close, her presence solid and reassuring. Winston begins another quiet tale, this one about dreams. He speaks of how dreams are like gentle messengers, bringing comfort, insight, and rest. There is no need to chase them, he says. They arrive on their own when the mind is calm and open. Alice listens, barely aware of the words now, more aware of the feeling they bring. As you listen to, allow your breathing to slow even more. Inhale softly through your nose. Exhale through your mouth, long and easy. Feel the support beneath you, just as Alice feels the earth beneath her. You are safe. You are allowed to rest. Alexandra lets out a deep, quiet breath, the sound low and steady. It is grounding, like the gentle rumble of distant thunder that never arrives. Alice's thoughts drift, becoming softer, less defined. The forest fades into a warm blur of sound and sensation. Winston's voice grows quieter, spacing his words farther apart. The pauses between them stretch, inviting sleep to settle in. The stars overhead seem to pulse gently, in time with Alice's breathing. Soon, Alice drifts into sleep, her face peaceful, her body completely relaxed. The forest continues its quiet vigil, holding her in its calm embrace. Winston remains watchful, and Alexandra rests, content and still. And as the story carries on, so too may your own rest deepen. Let the images soften. Let the sounds fade. There is nothing more you need to do. Sleep can come easily now, like a gentle tide. The night deepens in the wondrous forest, not darker, but softer. The moon drifts a little higher, and its light settles gently over the hollow where Alice sleeps. The air feels cool and clean, moving slowly, like a calm breath shared by everything living there. Winston watches the sky for a while longer, then tucks his head slightly, resting without fully sleeping. His presence is quiet and protective. Alexandra shifts just a little, careful not to disturb Alice, and lets herself relax completely. Her steady breathing becomes part of the forest's rhythm, joining the stream, the leaves, the distant calls of night creatures. Time passes without anyone counting it. In Alice's dreams, the forest continues, familiar yet softened at the edges. She walks along a path made of moonlight, her steps light and effortless. The trees seem to bow gently as she passes, their branches lifting just enough to let her through. She feels curious but never worried. In dreams, she knows she is safe. Winston appears beside her, not flying this time, but walking calmly. He tells her that wisdom does not always arrive as answers. Sometimes it comes as peace, as the quiet knowing that everything is unfolding as it should. Alice nods, understanding without needing to think. Further along the path, Alexandra waits near a wide clearing filled with glowing flowers. Their light is soft and warm, not bright. Alexandra laughs quietly and explains that joy does not have to be loud to be real. It can be as simple as sharing space, as simple as breathing together. Alice feels that truth settles gently inside her chest. As the dream drifts on, the path slowly fades, replaced by a sense of floating ease. Alice no longer needs to walk. She simply rests, surrounded by calm. Back in the waking forest, a breeze moves through the leaves, creating a soft, rustling sound, like whispered lullabies. The fire in the clearing from earlier has burned down to ash, its warmth lingering in the earth. Somewhere nearby, the stream continues its steady song, never stopping, never rushing. If you are still awake, you may notice how comfortable your body feels now. Perhaps your limbs are heavy, relaxed. Perhaps your breathing is slow and natural. There is no right way to listen. Even drifting in and out is perfectly fine. The story will keep holding the space for you. Winston shifts slightly on his branch, feathers fluffing against the cool air. He listens deeply, not just with his ears, but with an awareness shaped by many nights like this one. He knows the forest well. He knows how sleep comes when it is welcomed, not forced. Alexandra dreams, too, her thoughts moving lazily through memories of sunny afternoons, berry patches, and long naps under open skies. Her dreams are warm and simple, full of contentment. The forest seems to smile along with her. Alice stirs just a little, then settles again. Her face is peaceful, free of tension. The gentle lessons of the evening have found their place, not as thoughts to remember, but as feelings to carry. The moon begins its slow descent, barely noticeable. Stars blink softly, some fading, others shining brighter. The forest does not mind the change. It knows cycles. It trusts them. Winston quietly reflects on how every creature here has its own rhythm. The owl watches, the bear rests, the child dreams, the trees stand, the water flows. None of them rush the others. None of them fall behind. You may imagine yourself here too, if you like, sitting or lying comfortably in the hollow, feeling the ground beneath you, hearing the same sounds, or you may simply let the images drift away, keeping only the calm they leave behind. The breeze slows. The forest grows quieter, still, not empty, but deeply at rest. Even the crickets soften their song, leaving more space between each note. Alice's dream gently dissolves into deeper sleep, where there are no pictures at all, only comfort. Winston closes his eyes now, trusting the forest to keep watch alongside him. Alexandra's breathing remains slow and steady, a quiet anchor in the night. And so the wondrous forest continues through the night, holding its friends, offering rest without asking anything in return. If sleep has not yet fully claimed you, that is all right. There is no hurry. Let the remaining sounds wash over you. Let your thoughts drift like leaves on the stream, carried without effort. The story will continue to flow, slow and gentle, whenever you are ready. The forest breathes in, then out, a rhythm so slow it almost feels like stillness. In this calm, hours pass like moments. The night wraps everything in a soft, blue hush, and the space between sounds becomes just as comforting as the sounds themselves. Somewhere far away, an owl calls once, then settles. Leaves shift gently as a breeze moves through, not strong enough to stir, only enough to remind the forest that it is alive. The stream continues its patient journey, water touching stone, stone shaping water, both content with their roles. Alice sleeps deeply now. Her dreams have thinned into a warm quiet, like floating beneath the surface of a lake, where everything is muted and safe. Her body is loose and heavy, perfectly supported by the earth beneath her. Each breath rises and falls without effort. Winston dreams lightly, the way old owls do. His dreams are more like gentle thoughts drifting by. He remembers past nights, other moons, other quiet gatherings beneath these same trees. He knows that nights like this are gifts, simple and complete. He rests in that knowing. Alexandra shifts again, very slowly, settling into an even more comfortable position. Her fur catches the moonlight, and she lets out a small sigh, the sound of a being fully at ease. In her half-dreaming state, she feels gratitude without words. Gratitude for the forest, for friendship, for rest. As the night continues, the forest seems to grow wider and deeper, as if the calm itself has space to stretch. Roots hold the ground firmly, branches cradle the sky. Nothing pulls, nothing pushes. If you notice your thoughts wandering, that is perfectly fine. You do not need to follow them. You can let them pass, just as you might watch clouds drift by without naming them. Each time you return to the sound of the voice or the imagined forest, you return to rest. A soft mist begins to form near the stream, curling gently over the water. It moves slowly, like a thought that has nowhere it needs to be. The moonlight turns it silver, and the air feels even cooler and cleaner. The forest welcomes this change, just as it welcomes every other. In the hollow, Alice's hand rests open against the grass. Her fingers relax completely. The muscles in her face are smooth, free of any strain. She is learning something important in her sleep, something that cannot be taught with words. She is learning how it feels to be fully at peace. Winston senses the subtle shift toward morning, though it is still far away. He understands time differently. For him, the night is not something to endure, but something to inhabit. He remains still, allowing rest to deepen. Alexandra's breathing grows even slower, each inhale gentle, each exhale long. The ground beneath her feels solid and dependable. She trusts it completely. Trust comes easily here. The stars begin to rearrange themselves, ever so slightly, unnoticed by most. The sky continues its quiet work, just as your body continues its own. Heart beating steadily, lungs moving softly. Everything is doing exactly what it needs to do, without instruction. You might notice a sense of warmth spreading through your chest, or a pleasant heaviness in your limbs, or perhaps a feeling of floating, as if gravity has softened its hold. Whatever you feel is welcome. There is no right sensation, only your own. The forest holds this moment, stretching it gently. No alarms, no expectations, only rest. Alice turns slightly in her sleep. A small movement, then becomes still again. Her dreams have faded completely now, leaving only deep, restorative sleep. Winston's eyes remain closed. Alexandra does not move at all. The mist near the stream thickens, then thins, moving on as quietly as it arrived. The water never stops. It never needs to hurry. In the distance, the faintest hint of dawn waits, patient and respectful, not yet ready to arrive. The forest knows it will come when the time is right. Until then, this space remains a sanctuary, a pause, a gentle holding. If sleep has already taken you, the story continues quietly, without needing your attention. If you are still listening, you can allow yourself to sink even deeper now. There is nothing left to follow, nothing to imagine unless you want to. Just rest. The wondrous forest remains calm and steady, keeping watch over Alice, Winston, Alexandra, and anyone else who has wandered here in search of peace. The night stretches on like a long, gentle sigh. Nothing interrupts it. Nothing asks for attention. The forest simply exists, calm and complete, as if it has always known how to care for those who rest within it. A single leaf drifts down from a high branch and lands softly near Alice's hand. It makes no sound at all. The air is cool but kind, wrapping around her like a light blanket. Her breathing remains slow and steady, each breath sinking her deeper into comfort. Winston opens one eye briefly, more out of habit than concern. All is well. He closes it again, allowing himself to rest more fully now. Wisdom, he knows, also comes from knowing when to let go of watchfulness. Alexandra dreams of a sunny clearing, warm stones, and the taste of sweet berries. In her dream, she laughs quietly, a sound that never leaves her chest. Even in sleep, her joy is gentle. The forest floor holds the warmth of the day, releasing it slowly into the night. Roots beneath the ground stretch and relax. Insects pause, then continue. Every small movement fits perfectly into the larger stillness. If you are listening and still awake, you might notice how easy it is to simply be here. No effort required. No need to picture every detail. The feeling of calm is enough. The story is only a guide, like a lantern set down beside you, glowing softly while you rest. A faint breeze moves through again, barely stirring the grass. It carries the scent of pine and damp earth. It passes over the hollow, then moves on, unhurried. Alice does not stir. Winston remains still. Alexandra's breathing stays deep and even. Somewhere deeper in the forest, a small animal curls into its nest. Somewhere higher, a bird tucks its head beneath its wing. All around, rest spreads naturally, without instruction. The moon drifts behind a thin veil of cloud, softening its light. Shadows blur at the edges. The forest becomes even quieter, as if turning inward. This is the deepest part of the night, where sleep settles most fully. Alice's body is completely at ease now. There is no tension anywhere. Her mind is empty of words, empty of pictures. Only rest remains. This is the kind of sleep that restores gently, without effort. Winston breathes slowly, deeply, feathers rising and falling. Alexandra shifts just once, a small adjustment, then becomes still again. The ground supports her easily. You may feel yourself drifting to thoughts, slowing, awareness, softening. If a thought appears, it can float by without needing to be finished. You do not need to hold on to anything. The night will carry it for you. The stream continues its quiet song, unchanged. Water moving over stone, stone shaping water. A perfect balance, repeated endlessly. Listening to it, even in imagination, can make everything inside feel smoother, calmer. The forest has seen countless nights like this. It remembers them all, and it remembers how to hold them gently. It remembers how to welcome rest. Time passes, but it feels meaningless here. There are no hours, no minutes, only a long, continuous now, a safe pause. Alice sighs softly in her sleep, a sign of deep comfort. Winston does not react. Alexandra does not move. Everything is exactly as it should be. If you notice yourself slipping closer to sleep, you can let that happen naturally. There is nothing left to listen for. The voice will remain soft and steady, keeping the space quiet and safe. The stars continue their slow movement overhead. Some fade, others brighten. The sky does not rush them. Neither should you rush yourself. The forest rests, and in this resting place there is a gentle lesson that doing nothing can be enough, that being still can be healing, that you are allowed to stop, just like this. The hollow remains peaceful, the night remains kind. The story flows quietly on, like the stream, carrying rest wherever it is needed. The quiet grows even deeper now, like a soft blanket laid gently over everything. The forest seems to slow its own heartbeat, stretching the calm until it feels endless and spacious. Far above, clouds drift lazily across the sky, thin and pale. They move without purpose, without destination, simply moving because that is what clouds do. The moon peeks through them now and then, casting a dim, soothing glow that never startles, never intrudes. Alice remains asleep, fully surrendered to rest. Her body knows exactly what to do. Muscles repair, breath stays smooth. The steady rhythm of her heart carries her safely through the night. She does not dream anymore, she simply rests. Winston shifts slightly, settling his feathers in a way that feels just right. There is no urgency in the movement, only comfort. He has learned over many years that stillness has layers, and this is one of the deepest. He lets himself sink into it. Alexandra's chest rises and falls in a slow, peaceful pattern. Her weight presses gently into the earth, grounding her completely. The forest floor holds her without effort, just as it holds Alice, just as it holds every root and stone and seed beneath it. If you are listening now, you may feel as though the edges of your awareness are softening. Sounds may seem farther away. Your body may feel heavier, warmer, or pleasantly loose. There is nothing to correct, nothing to focus on. Simply allowing is enough. The stream's song becomes quieter, not because it has slowed, but because everything else has grown more still. Its sound blends into the background, a steady presence that reassures without demanding attention. Somewhere nearby, a night insect pauses, then resumes its gentle rhythm. The pause feels natural, unremarkable. In the forest, nothing is ever wrong with stopping for a moment. The hollow where the friends rest feels protected, almost cradled by the surrounding trees. Branches curve overhead, not closing in, but offering shelter. The ground is smooth and cool beneath the grass. This place has been shaped over time to be exactly what it is. Alice turns her head slightly, settling into an even more comfortable position. Her breathing deepens again. The movement is small, instinctive, and then stillness returns. Winston's mind drifts into a half-sleep state, where thoughts are more like feelings. He senses the balance of the forest, the way everything is aligned. There is a quiet satisfaction in this awareness, a trust that nothing needs his guidance right now. Alexandra's dreams fade into a warm, wordless calm. She does not think, she does not imagine, she simply rests, fully present in sleep. You might notice that the sound of the voice feels farther away now, or softer. That is a sign that your mind is doing what it naturally knows how to do. You do not need to follow every word. You can let them pass like water flowing around you. The moon continues its slow journey, inch by inch, never rushing. The stars shift almost imperceptibly. The forest does not mark time, it experiences it. The air cools just a little more, fresh and clean. Each breath feels easy, effortless, natural. There is no resistance anywhere. If your thoughts drift to the day behind you or the day ahead, they can do so quietly, without pulling you along. You can stay here, resting, letting the night hold those thoughts for you. Alice sleeps on, deeply restored. Winston rests, content. Alexandra remains still and peaceful. The forest surrounds them with patience and care. This is a place where nothing is asked of you, a place where rest is not earned, but given freely. The night remains calm, the hollow remains safe. The story continues softly, like a lullaby that never needs to end. And you are welcome to rest as long as you need, right here. The calm widens, as if the forest itself has gently exhaled and decided to linger in that peaceful space between breaths. Nothing new arrives, nothing leaves. This is the heart of rest, where time loosens its meaning and everything feels quietly complete. A soft hush settles over the trees, deeper than before. Even the leaves seem to pause, hanging motionless in the cool air. The forest is not asleep exactly. It is resting with awareness, like someone lying back with eyes closed, listening to the world without needing to respond. Alice remains deeply asleep, her body fully surrendered to the night. The small rise and fall of her chest is steady and reassuring. Each breath moves through her with ease, as if her lungs and heart are gently rocking her deeper into comfort. The ground beneath her feels perfectly shaped, as though it has slowly molded itself to support her in just this way. Winston senses this deep stillness and allows himself to sink even further into rest. His thoughts are no longer thoughts at all, just a quiet sense of being part of something larger. He feels the trees behind him, the sky above, the soft pull of gravity below. Everything is connected, and everything is calm. Alexandra's presence is warm and grounding. Her large form rests heavily against the earth, and that weight feels reassuring, not only to her, but to the space around her. There is comfort in knowing something strong is nearby, relaxed and at ease. The stream continues its gentle murmur, but now it feels like it is flowing through the background of a dream. Its sound blends into the night so seamlessly that it becomes almost part of the silence itself. Water moves, stones wait, neither rushes the other. If you are listening, you may notice that your awareness drifts in and out, like floating just beneath the surface of warm water. You might catch a sentence here, a phrase there, then slip back into quiet. This is exactly how it should be. There is no need to stay awake for the story. The story will stay awake for you. A faint mist drapes itself more fully across the forest floor, thin and slow-moving. It curls around tree roots and smooth stones, softening edges and blurring lines. The world feels gentler this way, less defined, more forgiving. Alice's hand twitches once, then relaxes completely. Her fingers uncurl, releasing even the smallest bit of tension. Her face remains peaceful, her brow smooth, her mouth relaxed. Sleep holds her carefully, without effort. Winston adjusts his footing on the branch above, a movement so subtle it barely registers. He settles into a position that feels perfectly balanced, then grows still again. He knows the night well. He trusts it. Alexandra exhales slowly, a long breath that seems to travel all the way down into the ground. The earth receives it gladly. Her breathing remains slow, deep, and even. Each breath anchors her further into rest. The forest listens to itself. Somewhere far away, a night bird stirs, then quiets. Somewhere closer, an insect crawls along a blade of grass, then stops. These small moments pass without comment. They belong here. The moon, now partially veiled, casts a softer glow. Shadows lose their sharpness. The hollow feels cocooned, tucked away from anything that could disturb it. This is a place designed for rest, shaped over time by countless peaceful nights. If your body feels heavy now, let it. If it feels light, let that be fine too. There is no wrong way to rest. You are not required to follow the story. Imagine every detail, or hold on to the sound of the voice. You can drift as deeply as you like. Alice's sleep deepens further, entering that quiet space where the body repairs itself gently and thoroughly. Muscles soften, the nervous system unwinds. Everything slows to its most natural rhythm. Winston rests in a state between sleep and wakefulness, where awareness is soft and non-judgmental. He feels no need to observe or interpret. He simply is. Alexandra remains deeply asleep, her dreams long gone, replaced by pure rest. Her strength is renewed, not through effort, but through stillness. The forest itself seems to lean inward, as though protecting this pocket of calm. Trees stand firm, roots hold steady. The ground remains cool and supportive. You may notice now that the space between breaths feels longer, more spacious. Inhale arrives easily. Exhale lingers. Each breath invites the next without instruction. If thoughts arise, you can imagine them drifting into the mist, dissolving as they move away. You do not need to finish them. The night will take care of them. The stream flows on, unchanged. The sky shifts slowly. The forest remains patient. Nothing needs to happen next. The story continues not by adding more, but by allowing less. Less effort, less focus, less doing. Alice sleeps peacefully. Winston rests quietly. Alexandra remains still and content. The forest holds them all with gentle care, and you, too, are held here, safe, supported, allowed to rest. The night remains calm, and it will stay this way for as long as you need. Very softly now, as the calm holds steady, something gentle stirs between Alice and Alexandra. Not enough to wake the night, just enough to add warmth to it. In the deeper layers of Alice's sleep, she shifts closer to the bear's side. Even without waking, she senses that steady, comforting presence nearby. Alexandra, half dreaming, half aware, responds instinctively. She adjusts her position just enough so that her warm fur forms a natural shelter, like a living blanket. The movement is slow and careful, guided by kindness rather than thought. Alice's breathing eases even more, as if her body recognizes safety and settles into it. One small hand rests against Alexandra's fur, fingers relaxed, trusting. The contact is simple, wordless, and deeply reassuring. In her dream, Alice finds herself walking through the forest again, this time beside Alexandra. The trees are taller here, their leaves glowing softly as if lit from within. Alexandra moves at Alice's pace, never ahead, never behind. When the path grows narrow, Alexandra lowers her head slightly so Alice can lean against her shoulder. Together, they walk without speaking, enjoying the quiet companionship. They come upon a clearing filled with wild berries, glowing faintly under the moonlight. Alexandra gently shows Alice which ones are ripe, nudging a branch closer with careful precision. Alice laughs softly in her dream, a sound light and full of wonder. She tastes a berry and feels joy bloom, simple and sweet. Back in the waking forest, Alexandra's paw shifts slightly, curling closer to Alice, creating a deeper sense of warmth. The bear's breathing remains slow and even, but there is a quiet awareness there, a gentle instinct to protect and comfort. Alice's dream changes again. Now she and Alexandra are near a fallen log beside the stream. Alexandra sits first, making sure the log is steady. Then Alice climbs up, sitting close. They dip their hands and paws into the cool water, watching ripples spread outward. Alexandra shows Alice how the water keeps moving around obstacles instead of fighting them. Alice understands without needing words. In sleep, Alice smiles. The forest seems to notice this shared moment and responds in kind. The breeze grows softer. The stream's song smooths out, becoming almost melodic. Everything leans toward harmony. Alexandra dreams now too, and in her dream, Alice is teaching her something simple in return. Alice points out tiny glowing insects resting on leaves, things Alexandra might have missed. The bear feels a warm appreciation, a reminder that even the strong can learn from the small and observant. In the hollow, Alice shifts again, nestling comfortably against Alexandra's side. The bear's chest rises and falls steadily beneath her. Alexandra lets out a long, slow breath, deeper than before, the sound low and soothing. It is the breath of complete ease. Winston, above them, senses this quiet bond and feels content. He knows that wisdom often grows, not from lessons spoken, but from moments shared. If you are listening, you may feel this sense of companionship too. That feeling of being quietly cared for without needing to ask. You can let yourself rest into that feeling, just as Alice does. Alice's hand curls slightly into Alexandra's fur, then becomes still. Her sleep remains deep and uninterrupted. Alexandra does not move again, holding the moment gently, naturally. In the forest, nothing needs to be said. Friendship speaks through presence, through warmth, through the simple act of staying close. The night continues, calm and kind, holding Alice and the bear in this quiet, meaningful togetherness. Very softly, the night deepens, and the forest seems to wrap Alice and Alexandra in an even cozier embrace. In the hollow, a gentle warmth spreads between them, not just from the bear's fur, but from the quiet companionship they share, the kind of closeness that does not require words. In Alice's dream, she imagines herself and Alexandra exploring a hidden part of the forest, a glade that glows with tiny lantern-like flowers, each petal softly illuminated from within. Alexandra moves beside her, careful not to step on the delicate plants. Every now and then, Alexandra nudges a small branch or leaf aside with her nose so Alice can pass safely. It feels effortless, natural, and Alice notices that the bear's movements are like a gentle guide through the magical forest. They reach a shallow pool where the moon's reflection shimmers on the water's surface. Alexandra dips a paw into the water and shakes it gently, sending tiny ripples across the pool. Alice laughs softly in her dream, watching the moonlight dance across the water. And then she dips her fingers in too, feeling the cool liquid swirl around her hand. Alexandra nudges her with her nose, playfully encouraging her to splash a little. It is light, easy, and full of a kind of joy that only comes when you feel safe. After a while, they move to a quiet patch of moss under a large, sheltering tree. Alexandra lies down slowly, and Alice follows, resting her head gently on the bear's side. The moss is soft and warm beneath them, and the forest seems to hum around them, as if agreeing that this is a good place to pause. The moonlight filters through the leaves, creating patterns of silver on Alexandra's fur and on Alice's hair. At this moment, the forest feels completely alive with calm. Crickets hum softly, the stream murmurs nearby, and a faint breeze brushes the leaves above. Alice stretches a little, letting her fingers touch the moss, feeling the texture of the earth. Alexandra watches her with quiet contentment, aware that this shared stillness is as meaningful as any adventure they could have. Suddenly, a tiny firefly floats near them, blinking its soft light. Alexandra raises a paw gently, careful not to scare it, and Alice reaches out to watch it hover above her hand. The light glows softly on their faces. In this tiny, luminous moment, there is a sense of wonder, a reminder that even in stillness, magic exists. Alice feels sleepy again, a warm drowsiness that flows from her head down to her toes. Alexandra notices this too and shifts slightly, adjusting so that Alice can settle more comfortably. She lets out a low, contented sigh, and the sound blends with the forest part of the lullaby that keeps the night gentle and safe. Winston, perched in his branch above, glances down and observes this quiet companionship. There is wisdom in what he sees, that friendship and trust, even shared silently, can be as powerful as any spoken words. Alice dreams of small adventures now, simple things, picking wildflowers, following the path of a glowing snail, laughing softly with Alexandra's nudges and gentle encouragement. And Alexandra dreams, alongside her, of guiding and protecting, but also of discovering small wonders together. Each moment, though calm, carries a gentle thrill of connection. In the hollow, Alice shifts again, curling slightly into Alexandra's side. Alexandra wraps her large, soft paw a little closer around Alice, offering warmth and comfort. The forest seems to sigh along with them, the trees swaying ever so slightly, the moss beneath them softening with their rest. You, listening here, can feel this too. The ease of being safe beside someone who cares, the gentle rhythm of companionship, the warm weight of trust. Let yourself sink into it, breathing in the quiet and exhaling any tension. The moonlight glances across the hollow, catching the curve of Alexandra's fur, the softness of Alice's hair, and the delicate mist that drifts above the forest floor. Everything is peaceful, connected, and harmonious. If you imagine them here beside you, in your mind or in your heart, you may feel the same slow, comforting rhythm. Sleep can deepen even more. The quiet warmth of friendship, care, and gentle adventure holds you securely. letting you rest fully. The night deepened in the wondrous forest, wrapping every branch, leaf, and stone in a quiet, protective embrace. Alice, still resting beside Alexandra, felt a warm, soothing weight against her side. In sleep, the world transformed. The moss under her shifted softly, cushioning her like a gentle pillow, and the earth seemed to hum beneath her, a low, comforting vibration that matched her slow heartbeat. Even in sleep, Alice's mind wandered, guided by the steady presence of Alexandra. In her dream, she saw herself walking through a grove she had never visited before. The trees here were taller, older, their branches entwined in delicate patterns that let slivers of moonlight fall like beams of silver on the soft forest floor. Alexandra padded beside her, careful and deliberate, nudging aside any stray branches or stones that might get in her way. The bear moved with a grace that belied her size, and Alice felt a deep sense of security simply being near her. They reached a small stream, the water glinting like liquid glass under the moonlight. Tiny fish flickered just beneath the surface, catching the faint glow. Alexandra lowered her massive paw and touched the water lightly, sending tiny ripples across the surface. Alice laughed softly, a sound like wind rustling through leaves, and reached out to do the same. Together, they watched the ripples stretch and fade. Alexandra's nose pressed gently against Alice's shoulder, a quiet, wordless gesture of companionship, and Alice felt warmth bloom in her chest. The forest seemed alive with soft energy, but there was no urgency. Fireflies glowed in clusters around the grove, drifting lazily, their lights pulsing gently like tiny lanterns. Alice held out her hands, and one landed softly on her fingertips. Alexandra tilted her head, watching, then lifted a paw delicately, letting the tiny creature rest for a moment before it floated away. The two friends remained still, letting the magic of the moment settle around them. Eventually, the path led them to a sun-dappled clearing that existed only in dreams. The ground was soft with moss and wildflowers, and in the center, a small circle of stones formed what seemed like an ancient, forgotten gathering place. Alexandra sat first, lowering herself slowly and deliberately so that Alice could curl up beside her. Alice leaned into the bear's side, feeling the comforting rise and fall of her chest with each breath. The moment was simple, but profound, a gentle reminder that closeness and trust could bring more peace than any adventure could. Alice's dream began to shift, as dreams often do, flowing like water around the presence of Alexandra. Suddenly, they were walking along a trail of glowing mushrooms that lit their way in a soft, amber hue. Alexandra moved carefully, stepping between the clusters, showing Alice how to avoid stepping on the fragile caps. Alice followed, reaching out to touch the tiny fungi as they glimmered under her fingers. Each touch seemed to send sparks of warmth through her, and she laughed softly, delighting in the small magic of the forest. Further along the path, they discovered a small pond surrounded by willow trees. The leaves brushed gently against the water's surface, and the pond mirrored the night sky above, doubling the stars. Alexandra sat beside the water, dipping her paw in and creating gentle ripples that shimmered like silver threads. Alice knelt, reaching into the cool water with her hands. The ripples touched her fingertips, and she felt a soothing, tingly warmth spread from her hands up through her arms. Alexandra nudged her lightly with her nose, as if to say, "Notice this, enjoy it, be present." Then, in the dream, a soft wind blew through the willow branches, carrying with it the faint scent of honeysuckle and fresh rain. Alice inhaled deeply, letting the scent settle into her lungs, and felt herself sinking deeper into comfort. Alexandra stretched, her body long and relaxed, her paw brushing lightly against Alice's hand. It was a small, tender moment of connection, wordless but full of meaning. Alice's eyelids felt heavy, even in her dream, and she realized she could rest here forever in this gentle companionship. The forest around them responded in kind. Fireflies danced closer, forming loose, floating arcs of light around the two friends. The water of the pond glimmered with reflected moonlight, and tiny ripples seemed to follow wherever Alexandra moved. Even the wind whispered softly through the trees, rustling the leaves in a rhythm that matched the slow, steady pulse of Alice's breathing. Alice noticed small things now that she had never noticed before the way. The petals of the wildflowers turned toward the moonlight, the faint sound of frogs croaking in the distance, the subtle shimmer of dew forming on leaves. Alexandra, ever patient, allowed Alice to explore, never rushing, always moving at her pace. When Alice stumbled over a root, Alexandra lowered her massive paw, letting Alice steady herself. Each tiny act of care deepened their bond. In a quieter part of the dream forest, they discovered a small hill, its peak gentle and covered in soft grass. Alexandra led the way, and Alice followed closely, careful to step where the bear guided her. At the top, they looked out over the forest, a sea of dark green illuminated by silver moonlight. Alice felt a profound sense of awe and contentment. Here, everything seemed to slow, to expand, to breathe in unison. Alexandra's presence was steady and grounding, the perfect balance to Alice's quiet wonder. As they rested on the hill, a faint chorus of night-birds joined in from the distance, their calls soft and melodic, like a lullaby sung just for them. Alexandra lay down beside Alice, letting the girl's head rest against her side once more. The bear's warmth radiated gently, enveloping Alice in a cocoon of comfort. Every breath Alexandra took seemed to reassure Alice that she was safe, that she was cared for, that she could drift into sleep without fear. Alice's dream shifted once again, this time to a grove of crystal-like flowers that glimmered with every imaginable color. Alexandra guided her through the grove, nudging aside delicate petals and letting Alice explore their colors and textures. When Alice hesitated at the edge of a shimmering pond within the grove, Alexandra lowered her head to gently touch her hand with her nose, encouraging her to take the next step. Trust, Alice realized, even in her dream, was more powerful than courage alone. By now, the night in the dream forest felt endless, yet impossibly soft and safe. Every leaf, every creature, every sound seemed to move in harmony with Alice's heart. Alexandra remained near, patient and protective, letting Alice discover wonder at her own pace. Sometimes Alexandra would playfully nudge Alice with a paw or her nose, teasing her lightly, and Alice would giggle quietly, a sound that blended seamlessly with the night. After a while, they discovered a grove of soft ferns that grew thick and lush. Alexandra lay down amidst the ferns, letting the tall greenery brush lightly against her fur. Alice nestled beside her, the ferns forming a protective, velvety curtain around them. The forest seemed to lean closer, leaves brushing overhead as if to keep the moment private. They remained still, breathing together, feeling the forest's rhythm, feeling the night's gentle pulse in their bodies. Even in this magical dream world, Alice began to feel her body growing heavier, sleepier, lulled by the safety and warmth Alexandra provided. Alexandra, sensing Alice's drowsiness, wrapped a paw gently around the girl, a silent promise of comfort. In the background, the stream's soft murmur, the distant hoot of an owl, and the whispering leaves created a symphony of rest, carrying Alice deeper into sleep. And yet, the dream continued to shift in subtle ways. Soft beams of moonlight moved slowly through the trees, illuminating tiny glimmers of magic glowing mushrooms, tiny reflective puddles, and gentle creatures who watched from a distance. Alexandra would sometimes pause to examine these wonders, letting Alice see them too, teaching her to notice without rushing, to appreciate without needing to take or change anything. Alice felt a deep sense of peace settle in her chest. Here, in the hollowed dream forest with Alexandra by her side, she realized she was never truly alone. Every creature, every leaf, every glimmer of light seemed to agree with this truth. Alexandra's warmth and gentle guidance were constant reminders that companionship, kindness, and quiet patience were more magical than any spell or treasure she had ever imagined. The night stretched on, endless yet soothing, holding Alice and Alexandra in a cocoon of safety and wonder. Their shared moments, soft touches, gentle nudges, quiet laughter, and simple exploration wove a tapestry of calm that extended beyond the dream and into Alice's deeper sleep. The forest itself seemed to hum with quiet approval, every tree, stone, and blade of grass participating in this lullaby of trust, care, and gentle adventure. As the night deepened further, the dream forest began to reveal even smaller, subtler wonders. Alice noticed them first, tiny, luminous insects flitting through the air like drifting stars. Their light was soft, almost imperceptible, and Alexandra moved slowly beside her, showing no alarm, simply guiding Alice past where the insects hovered. Alice held her hand out, allowing one to land lightly on her fingertip. It glowed faintly, warm and comforting, and Alexandra's nose brushed gently against Alice's shoulder, as if to say, "Look at this with wonder, but move gently." Alice smiled in her sleep, feeling a quiet thrill at discovering something so small yet so magical. They wandered deeper into the dream forest, where a gentle hill rose, covered in thick, velvety moss that shimmered silver under the moonlight. Alexandra stepped first, careful with her large paws so that the moss would not flatten too harshly. Alice followed, letting her fingers brush the soft carpet. Each step seemed to create a tiny ripple of light across the moss, as though the ground itself was celebrating their presence. Alexandra lowered her massive head to nuzzle Alice lightly when she stumbled, a soft, grounding gesture that brought comfort without words. At the hill summit, a view stretched out across the dream forest. Trees waved gently in a breeze that was barely there, and tiny lights-glowing mushrooms, fireflies, and silvery dewdrops scattered across the landscape like stars fallen to earth. Alice rested against Alexandra, feeling the bear's warmth press gently against her side. Alexandra shifted slightly, creating an even more secure nest for Alice, and the girl exhaled deeply, letting the peace of the moment wash over her. In her dream, Alice noticed a series of glowing flowers that formed a small path leading down the hill. Alexandra guided her carefully along it, paw after paw, always attentive to Alice's pace. They paused at a small clearing where the flowers glimmered in soft rainbow hues. Alexandra tapped her paw lightly on the ground, sending tiny sparks of color across the flowers. Alice giggled softly, the sound blending with the gentle night, and reached out to do the same. They watched the colors dance together, shimmering across petals like liquid light. A small pond appeared nearby, its surface perfectly still and reflecting the moon and stars above. Alexandra dipped a paw into the water, creating gentle ripples that spread outward. Alice mirrored her, letting her fingers skim the surface, feeling the coolness, the movement, and the subtle vibration that seemed to travel from the water to her very bones. Alexandra nudged her hand lightly with her nose, encouraging Alice to feel every sensation fully, to enjoy the small, unhurried adventure of simple touch. Then, Alexandra lay down beside the pond, the weight of her body comforting and grounding. Alice curled up against her side once more, feeling the gentle rise and fall of Alexandra's chest. The forest around them responded in quiet acknowledgement. Leaves brushed softly in the wind, the stream hummed nearby, and fireflies danced gently through the air, circling their resting spot like tiny sentinels of light. Alice's dream continued to weave small, magical adventures. They found a grove filled with delicate butterflies whose wings sparkled as though dusted with starlight. Alexandra moved slowly, letting Alice admire each one without fear. Some butterflies landed lightly on Alexandra's fur, and she would flick her ear or paw ever so gently, allowing the insects to stay, teaching Alice the quiet patience of nature. Alice reached out a hand and felt a butterfly settle for just a heartbeat before drifting away. She laughed softly, the sound as light as a breeze rustling through leaves. The dream forest shifted again, revealing a hollow tree with a wide, smooth trunk that had naturally formed a cozy seat. Alexandra nudged Alice toward it, and she climbed up carefully, sitting beside the bear. From here, they could see the moonlight reflecting on the stream far below, tiny sparkles twinkling like stars fallen to earth. Alexandra rested her massive head beside Alice, and for a long while neither moved. They simply listened to the night, even in sleep. Alice began to understand something important, that adventure does not always mean running or discovering new places. Adventure can be quiet. Adventure can be gentle. Adventure can be sharing stillness, warmth, and small wonders with a friend who cares. Alexandra, in all her strength and size, was teaching Alice that the greatest magic is found in trust and companionship, in soft nudges, and in the warmth of someone who is always there. A soft wind carried the faint scent of wildflowers across the hollow. Alexandra shifted slightly, wrapping a paw closer to Alice, creating a cocoon of warmth. Alice felt the tiniest shiver of comfort run through her, a deep, satisfying sigh that seemed to echo through the dream forest. Somewhere far away, Winston hooted softly, a reminder that even above them, the forest watched, patient and calm. Alice noticed another small wonder, a tiny family of glowing snails, leaving faint trails of silver behind them as they moved along the moss. Alexandra lowered her nose to observe them, and Alice watched, fascinated by the quiet movement. The snails seemed to move in harmony with Alexandra's steady breathing, and Alice felt a profound sense of connection. Every creature, every leaf, every ripple in the pond was part of the same peaceful rhythm. Time became irrelevant in this part of the dream. The forest expanded infinitely, yet every part of it felt intimately familiar. Alice explored, played gently, and rested, always near Alexandra. Sometimes Alexandra would flick her paw playfully at Alice's hand, and Alice would laugh quietly, delighting in the simple joy of interaction. At other times, they simply sat together, watching the soft glow of mushrooms, fireflies, and moonlight play across the forest floor. The night continued to deepen, softening even further. The stars above twinkled faintly, mirrored perfectly in the pond below. Alice's body felt heavy, warm, and safe. Alexandra's steady presence anchored her in a cocoon of trust. Each breath felt longer, deeper, as though the forest itself was breathing with them, creating a lullaby of pure comfort. And so the hours passed in gentle companionship, soft touches, quiet laughter, gentle lessons from the forest. Alexandra nudged, guided, and protected. Alice observed, learned, and rested. Every moment was a quiet adventure, a tapestry of stillness, trust, and magic that needed no urgency or words. As the night moved slowly onward, Alice felt herself drifting even deeper into the dream, where the forest stretched and shimmered like a secret, enchanted world. Alexandra rose slowly, careful not to disturb Alice too much, and padded lightly toward a nearby grove of trees whose trunks glowed faintly with a soft, golden light. Alice followed, her small hands brushing against the mossy trunks. Every touch seemed to awaken a tiny spark of warmth in the bark, like the forest was responding to their presence. Alexandra's nose nudged her lightly, guiding her gently, and Alice felt a rush of quiet delight at the simple magic of movement. The grove opened into a circular clearing filled with tiny flowers that glimmered like stars. Alexandra lowered herself, sitting down so Alice could explore more freely. Alice knelt, her fingers tracing the edges of the luminous petals. Some of the flowers released tiny puffs of sparkling dust as she touched them. Alexandra watched patiently, letting Alice marvel at the delicate wonders without interruption. She nudged Alice gently with her paw when a particularly bright cluster caught her eye, almost like sharing a secret. Alice giggled softly, leaning into the bear's side, feeling the warmth that radiated from her enormous, steady friend. Then, from behind a tall fern, a tiny, shy creature emerged, a miniature fox with fur that shimmered silver in the moonlight. Alexandra lowered her head, observing silently, and Alice reached out slowly. The fox stepped closer, curious in its delicate movements. Alexandra nudged Alice gently with her nose, a silent encouragement to be gentle, to respect the little creature. Alice's hand hovered near the fox, and it sniffed softly before curling up on the moss near her. Alexandra's eyes softened, and Alice felt a profound sense of connection. The magic of kindness extended beyond friendship to every living thing in the forest. The gentle breeze moved through the clearing, carrying the faint scent of flowers and earth. Fireflies drifted lazily around Alice and Alexandra, and the fox's silver fur caught the light in a way that made it almost glow. Alexandra shifted slightly, pressing a paw closer to Alice, creating a pocket of warmth. Alice leaned her head against the bear's side, her eyelids heavy, feeling herself sink deeper into comfort and trust. Alice's dream shifted again. Now, she and Alexandra were following a narrow path lined with glowing mushrooms that formed arches over the trail. The mushrooms emitted a soft, golden light, illuminating the way without breaking the gentle darkness of the forest. Alexandra moved with ease, careful not to crush the delicate fungi, while Alice followed, reaching out to touch the glowing caps. Each touch created tiny ripples of light that floated up into the air like sparks of magic. Alexandra nudged her gently when she got too close to a cluster, her large paw a soft reminder of safety and care. They arrived at a small, hidden pond that reflected the night sky perfectly. The water was still and calm, mirroring the moon and stars above. Alexandra lowered herself beside the pond, letting Alice sit comfortably against her side. Together, they watched tiny ripples form as the breeze brushed the water's surface. Alice dipped her fingers in, sending shimmering waves across the pond. Alexandra followed, brushing a paw lightly across the water, creating patterns that seemed to dance with the stars. The night hummed softly around them, a lullaby that matched the rhythm of their slow, even breathing. Alice noticed a small family of glowing frogs hopping along the pond's edge. Alexandra watched silently, and Alice knelt to observe them. She felt a gentle thrill of discovery as the frogs blinked their luminescent eyes at her. Alexandra nudged her shoulder lightly, sharing in the quiet wonder. Alice laughed softly, the sound blending seamlessly with the night, and felt a deep sense of contentment. Here, in the soft glow of the pond and the quiet companionship of Alexandra, adventure felt safe, magical, and endlessly gentle. After a while, Alexandra led Alice to a nearby patch of soft ferns, thicker and taller than any they had seen before. Alexandra lay down among them, creating a natural nest. Alice curled up beside her, pressing her cheek against the bear's warm fur. The forest seemed to lean closer, the leaves above rustling softly, as if to form a protective canopy. The moonlight filtered through the ferns, casting silvery patterns across Alexandra's fur and Alice's hair. Together, they rested, breathing slowly in unison. In the quiet of the dream, Alice felt the smallest stirrings of playful curiosity. She reached out to Alexandra's paw, tapping it lightly. Alexandra responded immediately, nudging Alice with a gentle paw, initiating a soft game. They pawed and tapped lightly at each other, laughing in quiet whispers that only the forest could hear. Every movement was slow, deliberate, and comforting, a playful rhythm that soothed Alice while keeping the magic alive. Nearby, the fox watched silently, occasionally hopping closer to join the gentle interaction. Alice reached out again, this time letting the little creature brush her hand with its nose. Alexandra nudged her gently, encouraging the kindness and patience that Alice was learning in every small interaction. The three of them, the girl, the bear, and the tiny silver fox, shared a quiet understanding, a wordless friendship that needed no speech. As the dream continued, Alice and Alexandra discovered a gentle stream, smaller than the first, but glistening with the moonlight in tiny diamonds. Alexandra dipped her paw into the water, creating small ripples that spread softly across the surface. Alice joined her, holding her hands just above the water and watching the reflections dance across her fingers. Alexandra nudged her hand lightly, encouraging her to notice the subtle movements, the tiny details, and the soothing rhythm of the natural world. The forest responded to their calm. The fireflies circled more slowly, the wind whispered softly through the leaves, and even the distant sounds of other nocturnal creatures seemed to harmonize with the peace of the moment. Alice felt herself sink further into the warmth of Alexandra's side. The rhythmic rise and fall of the bear's chest, a lullaby of safety and friendship. As the dream forest shifted yet again, they came across a small glade filled with petals that glowed faintly in soft pastel colors. Alexandra led the way, stepping carefully among the delicate blossoms. Alice followed, gently picking up a few petals and letting them float back to the ground. The bear nudged her lightly when she paused, guiding her without words. Alice felt a profound sense of wonder in these quiet moments, realizing that the magic of the forest was in every gentle gesture, every shared discovery, and every small connection. They finally returned to a soft, moss-covered hill, where Alexandra lay down, creating a perfect nest for Alice to curl up beside her. The silver fox curled near their feet, completing the trio of quiet companionship. Alice leaned her head against Alexandra's side, her eyelids heavy, her mind quiet and still. Every soft sound of the forest, the distant stream, the gentle wind, the occasional hoot of Winston in the distance blended into a perfect symphony of calm. In these moments, Alice felt the deepest sense of safety and comfort she had ever known. Adventure had come not in rushing or searching, but in observing, exploring gently, and sharing every small wonder with a friend. Alexandra's presence was steady, grounding, and full of quiet wisdom. The silver fox added a spark of curiosity, a reminder that even small things mattered. Together, they created a space where rest, discovery, and gentle joy coexisted in perfect harmony. Alice's breaths grew slower, deeper. Alexandra's steady rhythm mirrored hers. The forest wrapped them in a blanket of moonlight, moss, and gentle night sounds. Every detail, the rippling water, the soft rustling of leaves, the faint glow of petals and mushrooms melted into a single sensation of peacefulness. And as Alice drifted further into sleep, the night continued to hold them, unchanging and endlessly kind, carrying the warmth, magic, and friendship of the dream forest across the vast, quiet hours. As the dream forest stretched on, Alice felt a sudden tug of curiosity. She noticed a soft glow through the trees, distant but inviting, like a lantern calling them to explore further. Alexandra rose slowly, making sure Alice could follow, and led her carefully along a winding path covered in thick moss. Each step was deliberate. The soft padding of Alexandra's paws echoed gently in the hush of the night. Alice's fingers brushed the moss as she walked, feeling its plush texture and the faint vibrations of life hidden beneath it. The glow led them to a hidden glade filled with floating orbs of light, hovering in the air like miniature moons. Alexandra paused, watching Alice's wide-eyed fascination. Alice reached out her hands tentatively, and the orbs drifted closer, circling her softly, illuminating her face in a warm, gentle glow. Alexandra sat beside her, large body radiating warmth, and nudged her shoulder lightly, a silent reminder that she was safe to marvel, to explore, to be present in the wonder around her. From behind a thick clump of ferns, a tiny hedgehog peeked out, its quills glimmering faintly in the soft light. Alexandra lowered her head, curious but calm, and Alice moved slowly toward the small creature. She extended a finger, and the hedgehog inched closer, trusting the gentle energy in her presence. Alexandra's paw brushed against Alice's arm lightly, encouraging her patience. Alice giggled softly as the hedgehog's tiny nose tickled her fingertip, and Alexandra huffed a quiet, low sound that blended with the night like a contented sigh. As they continued, they discovered a small stream branching into little waterfalls, each cascading gently over mossy rocks. Alexandra stepped into the shallows, the water barely reaching her paws, and Alice followed with careful steps. She let her fingers trail through the cool, clear water, feeling the current swirl around her hand. Alexandra nudged her lightly with her paw, guiding her toward the smoothest stones and safest spots, teaching Alice, without words, the quiet patience of moving gently in nature. Nearby, glowing dragonflies flitted through the night, their wings sparkling faintly like silver thread. Alexandra watched them with Alice, and together they admired the intricate dance of light and motion. Alice reached out her hand again, and a dragonfly landed softly on her fingertip. The touch was delicate, fleeting, yet unforgettable. Alexandra huffed quietly, almost like a soft laugh, as if to say, "Look at the magic we can notice when we move slowly and kindly." Alice smiled, feeling a deep warmth in her chest. The dream forest continued to reveal wonders. A gentle hill appeared, its summit blanketed with soft, glowing flowers that bent lightly under the night breeze. Alexandra led the way, climbing with care, her large paws pressing gently into the moss so Alice could follow safely. At the top, they rested together, looking out across the moonlit forest. The leaves shimmered softly, and distant streams reflected slivers of light like scattered stars. Alice leaned against Alexandra, feeling her warmth and calm strength, while Alexandra's steady breathing matched the rhythm of the forest itself. Alice's imagination stirred with playful delight. She discovered tiny glowing footprints leading into a cluster of bushes. Alexandra followed patiently, curious but calm, letting Alice lead the way. They discovered a small family of forest rabbits, their fur catching faint light in a soft, silvery glow. Alexandra lay down quietly beside Alice, letting the girl watch the rabbits hop and explore. Alice laughed softly, delighting in the gentle antics of the creatures, and Alexandra nudged her hand with her nose, sharing in the quiet joy of discovery. As they continued, Alice found a shallow pond filled with tiny floating lily pads. She dipped her fingers in, creating ripples that spread across the water. Alexandra did the same, her large paw moving with surprising delicacy, creating patterns that sparkled in the soft light. Together they traced the movements of the water, noticing the reflection of moonlight and the subtle shimmer of the lily pads. The fox they had met earlier returned, circling near their feet, joining in this quiet exploration without fear. Alice's attention drifted to the soft music of the forest, the distant hoot of Winston, the whisper of the breeze through leaves, the gentle babble of streams. She realized that these sounds blended seamlessly into a lullaby, each note designed to soothe, calm, and guide her deeper into relaxation. Alexandra's steady presence made her feel completely safe, allowing her imagination to wander freely while her body and mind sank into calm. Eventually, they discovered a hollowed tree large enough to sit inside. Alexandra led the way, brushing aside hanging vines and moss so Alice could follow. The hollow was softly lit by glowing mushrooms that lined the interior walls. Alice curled up inside, leaning against Alexandra's side, and felt a profound sense of comfort. Alexandra lay down beside her, wrapping a paw gently around her, creating a warm, secure cocoon. The forest seemed to breathe along with them, its rhythm slow, steady, and soothing. Alice's dream began to drift into lighter, slower movements. Tiny fireflies danced around them, their glow weaving intricate patterns in the hollow. Alexandra nudged her gently with her nose, encouraging Alice to watch, to notice, to let herself relax. Alice traced the patterns with her fingers, delighting in the dance of light, the soft texture of moss, and the steady warmth of Alexandra beside her. The night deepened, and even the smallest creatures seemed to recognize the calm that filled the forest. A small family of hedgehogs wandered past the hollow, their tiny footsteps barely audible. Dragonflies hovered lazily near the entrance, their wings catching faint light. The fox curled up near their feet, sleeping peacefully. Alexandra's chest rose and fell in perfect rhythm, and Alice felt herself drifting ever deeper into a tranquil, dream-filled sleep. Even as the dream shifted, the forest remained gentle, kind, and magical. Alice's laughter, quiet and soft, blended with Alexandra's low, contented sounds. Every small discovery, every playful gesture, every gentle nudge reinforced a sense of wonder and safety. Adventure in this forest was not about speed, danger, or challenge. It was about noticing, moving slowly, playing gently, and cherishing the quiet companionship of those you trust. Alice's eyelids grew heavier. Her head rested fully against Alexandra's side. The warmth, the soft breath of the bear, the gentle glow of the forest, and the subtle chorus of nocturnal life worked together to lull her toward the deepest, most restorative sleep. Alexandra shifted slightly, wrapping a paw a little more securely around Alice, ensuring she was fully comfortable. The fox let out a tiny sigh and curled tighter at their feet. As the dream forest expanded infinitely around them, Alice realized that the quiet adventures she shared with Alexandra were some of the most magical experiences of all. The forest had shown her that friendship, care, and gentle curiosity could be more enchanting than any fantastical spell or distant treasure. It was in the small gestures, the soft laughter, the warmth beside her, and the attentive guidance of a friend who always watched over her. Alice's breaths deepened. Alexandra's slow, steady breathing continued, grounding both of them. The dream forest hummed softly, a lullaby of moonlight, moss, and the gentle sounds of life. The stars above twinkled faintly, mirrored in every puddle, every pond, every glimmering petal. Every creature, every leaf, every soft breeze joined in this symphony of calm, carrying Alice gently toward rest, comfort, and deep, uninterrupted sleep. As the dream forest stretched on, Alice felt a soft curiosity stir once again. She noticed a faint path of silver leaves glimmering under the moonlight, leading into a quieter, more secluded part of the forest. Alexandra rose slowly, moving with deliberate care so Alice could follow safely. Her large paws pressed gently into the moss, leaving soft impressions that seemed to glow faintly for a moment before fading. Alice stepped lightly after her, feeling the lush moss beneath her feet and listening to the subtle hum of life around them. The silver-leafed path led them to a gentle hill that overlooked a sparkling valley. Tiny lights twinkled below, reflecting the stars above. Fireflies drifted lazily through the air, their glow soft and comforting. Alexandra lay down at the top of the hill, allowing Alice to curl against her side. Together, they watched the valley below, letting the quiet magic of the scene sink deep into their hearts. Alice felt a rush of peace at the harmony around her, the gentle swaying of trees, the shimmering of water, the soft glow of life moving slowly through the night. A sudden rustle in the leaves caught Alice's attention. From behind a thick fern, a tiny family of glowing rabbits hopped into view. Alexandra's ears twitched as she watched silently, and Alice moved slowly closer, careful not to startle them. The rabbits paused, their eyes shining faintly, and then hopped along a little trail of luminescent flowers. Alexandra nudged Alice gently, encouraging her to follow at a slow pace. Together, they traced the rabbits' soft movements, noticing the way each leaf bent and shimmered beneath them, the way the petals of flowers leaned toward their path. Alice discovered a small, hidden stream winding through the valley. The water glimmered in the moonlight, reflecting tiny fragments of stars. Alexandra stepped into the stream, her large paw disturbing the water only slightly. Alice knelt and let her fingers skim the surface, creating gentle ripples that spread slowly across the pond. Alexandra nudged her hand lightly with her nose, a soft reminder to notice every tiny movement, every detail of the magical forest around them. The dream shifted gently, and now they found themselves in a grove of luminous flowers that bent softly as though bowing in greeting. Alexandra moved slowly among them, careful not to crush any petals. Alice followed, her hands reaching out to touch the glowing blossoms. Each contact created tiny sparks of light that floated upward and vanished like stardust. Alexandra's eyes were soft and patient, letting Alice explore at her own pace while teaching, without words, the joy of gentle discovery. A soft breeze carried the faint scent of honeysuckle and wet earth, and Alice felt her body sink deeper against Alexandra's side. The bear's warmth and steady presence were comforting, grounding Alice in the dream as it unfolded. Tiny fireflies danced around them in intricate patterns, and Alice traced the glowing trails with her fingertips, delighting in the slow, magical choreography of nature. Alexandra nudged her gently, inviting her to notice not only the beauty, but the quiet rhythm of life itself. They wandered further and discovered a circle of stones surrounding a miniature waterfall. The water trickled down gently, spilling into a shallow, sparkling pool. Alexandra stepped lightly into the water, creating subtle ripples. Alice joined her, holding her hands above the surface and watching the patterns form and shift. A small silver fox from earlier appeared again, padding softly around their feet, curious yet gentle. Alexandra nudged the fox toward Alice, and the girl reached out to stroke its fur, feeling the delicate softness and the warmth of trust between them. Alice's attention was caught by tiny, glowing dragonflies hovering above the water. Their wings sparkled faintly, and Alexandra watched with patient curiosity. Alice extended a finger, and a dragonfly landed briefly before floating upward again, tracing a path of delicate light through the night air. Alexandra huffed softly, a low, content sound, and Alice giggled quietly, feeling the joy of these small, magical encounters. As the night continued, they came upon a gentle glade filled with flowers that glowed in soft pastels. Alexandra moved carefully, letting Alice explore freely. Alice picked a petal gently and let it float back to the ground, marveling at its glow. Alexandra nudged her lightly, a reminder of the joy in small, careful gestures. Alice felt a deep sense of contentment, realizing that the magic of the forest was not in rushing or seeking, but in noticing, touching lightly, and sharing each moment with a trusted friend. They returned to a soft, moss-covered hill, Alexandra's large body forming a perfect nest for Alice to curl up against. The silver fox settled at their feet, and a faint chorus of night creatures joined in a distant hoot from Winston. The gentle babble of streams and the whisper of the wind through leaves. Together, they created a cocoon of calm and trust, where Alice could let go completely. Alice's eyelids grew heavy. Alexandra shifted slightly, wrapping a paw gently around her, ensuring she was warm and secure. Fireflies hovered lazily above, and the moonlight shimmered across the soft moss. Every sound, the distant stream, the subtle rustle of leaves, the quiet movements of creatures nearby blended into a gentle lullaby. Alice's body relaxed fully, her mind calm, her heart filled with the quiet magic of companionship and nature. Even as the dream shifted one last time, the forest remained a place of warmth and safety. Alice's laughter, quiet and soft, mingled with Alexandra's low, contented sounds. Tiny foxes, glowing dragonflies, and gentle streams continued to weave their quiet magic around her. Adventure had come not from rushing or danger, but from gentle curiosity, playful discovery, and shared moments with those she trusted. And as Alice drifted ever deeper into sleep, the forest cradled her fully. Alexandra's warmth, the soft glow of flowers, the gentle rhythm of flowing water, and the quiet hum of nocturnal life carried her toward a rest so deep and soothing that even her dreams whispered a gentle, comforting lullaby. The night stretched endlessly, a cocoon of calm, wonder, and quiet joy, carrying Alice, Alexandra, and their small companions through hours of perfect, restorative sleep. Good night.